Exclusive, we not only take you through the details of the firefighting operations that are being carried out by the Indian Coast Guard, but ladies and gentlemen, it's a massive fire at sea. Explosions echoing across the Arabian water, and now a troubling mystery emerging from the smoke. The Singapore flagged MV Van Hai 503 has been engulfed in flames for over 40 hours. A maritime emergency unfolding 65 nautical miles off the Kerala coast. What started as a fire in the forward bays has now become a full-scale crisis, with toxic smoke, hazardous cargo, and the constant risk of escalation as Indian Coast Guard and the Indian Navy teams battle around the clock to bring the situation under control. But as the firefighting continues, Republic's investigation has uncovered a stunning twist, one that raises far more questions than it answers. According to the official shipping records, the vessel loaded 157 containers carrying what they term it as dangerous IMDG. That's the class cargo from 6 international ports. But here comes the twist. Republic has found that 14 of the 143 containers that were loaded are now missing, undocumented, unaccounted for, and unexplained. The math simply does not add up. Could these missing containers hold the key to the continuous explosions on board? Were they quietly offloaded before final inspections, or do they contain materials far more dangerous than declared, perhaps even banned substances? As salvors race to contain the threat and international experts are flown in to assess the damage, Republic is now putting out the questions that remain completely unanswered. Ladies and gentlemen, I just took you through all the visuals that came in over the last few days. Now, I'm going to take you through what's happening right now as we speak. What's the situation? But before that, let me take you through the headlines, and then I'm going to take you through first what's really happening off the Baipur coast. Mystery over multiple explosions on the Singapore cargo vessel grows. Republic investigates the case of 14 missing containers aboard the ship. Fire and thick plumes of smoke continue to engulf the vessel, 48 hours and counting. More salvors mobilized for operations. Communal clashes break out between protesters and the police and two communities in South 24 Parganas in West Bengal. Few people injured in the clashes. Violence and chaos ensues in Los Angeles. Mayor imposes curfew in downtown area amid mass arrests. Ladies and gentlemen, 48 hours and counting, the firefighting operations are still on. The fire on board has partially been contained, with approximately a little over 40% of the blaze suppressed as per the Indian Coast Guard. The vessel remains unmanned and adrift, drifting in a southeasterly direction. The vessel remains afloat but continues to emit heavy smoke. Fire is contained primarily in the forward bay area. No structural compromise has been reported as of now. However, ongoing thermal and gas risks exist near the affected compartments. What you see right now on your screens describe the situation as of today. This is the latest visual that has been accessed by Republic TV. In fact, this video was shot just about an hour ago. As you can see, this is the Indian Coast Guard's vessel continuing with the firefighting operation. In fact, the situation being as such that the Indian Coast Guard, or for that matter, investigators from the DG Shipping, are not in any position to get onto the ship. Only the fact that we are now being told that there has been another development. We are waiting for an official confirmation to come in, and we're going to break that information in a short while from now as to what they have been able to achieve by dousing the fire in the forward bay area. And that, remember, is the other developing news right now. On your screens right now is the condition of the vessel, the Singapore-based vessel, which is carrying about 1,754 containers. As you can clearly see, even now, 48 hours on, the fire rages on. And what I've been able to pick up from my sources is this, that because of the chemicals that this ship was actually carrying, many a times after they are in a position to douse the fire, it resurfaces. And that is the reason why it is getting extremely difficult for the Indian Coast Guard as well as the other agencies involved, particularly the Indian Coast Guard, carrying this out, this entire operation. We have now accessed 4 sets of images right now and videos that basically gives you a sense of what's the current situation right now. Now, the ship that was previously engulfed in flames has had the fire successfully doused only in the forward bay area. Currently located 90 kilometers from the shore, the vessel is being assisted by a tugboat to move further into deeper water. So what's the latest information that we have? We are now being given to understand the ship, which is roughly about 90 kilometers away from the shore, is now being taken deeper into the sea. In fact, a tugboat has now been used to pull this vessel, and they are essentially using a technique that has been employed by the Indian Coast Guard as well as the other officials right now. In fact, let me just take you through the details that is coming in from our reporters on the ground, and this is what we have got a confirmation about, that they have been able to connect the tow line. The tow line is basically a method by which the tugboat is connected to the vessel, and the vessel is thereafter being pulled. Now, let me also go across to my colleague Ashwin, who's been tracking the story along with me right now here. Ashwin, I just spoke to the Coast Guard a short while back, and the latest details that we are essentially getting right now is that the tow line has been connected, which means that the plan right now is to pull the ship away from the current location so that it does not create any more trouble closer to the shore. Ashwin, if you can hear me, the latest development is with regards to the tugboat that has been used to pull this ship. I'm not very sure whether Ashwin can hear me right now, but just quickly to take you, ladies and gentlemen, with the breaking news now coming in. The latest development in the last 1 hour is this, that right now, in order to avoid any possible oil spill and the fact that the salvos have essentially been brought in, they are now trying to take this away, take the vessel a little deeper into the sea. Right now, this is very much part of the international waters right now, part of the India Economic Zone. And what the Indian Coast Guard, as well as the other stakeholders, are basically trying to do is take it deeper into the sea, only to avoid any sort of marine disaster. And that is the reason why this method has now been employed. Now, these visuals that I'm showing you are the latest on your screens right now. So the fire is yet to be doused. So there is a lot of risk that is basically involved in pulling this vessel. And remember, this vessel is over 1,000 metric ton, and that is the reason it becomes even more difficult for them to take this forward. In fact, what we are also going to do right now, take you through the details of what has happened over the last 48 hours and why there is a mystery. And the mystery we're going to unravel in a short while from now. It's a towering blaze at the sea. Explosions are echoing off the Kerala coast. Even a short while back, there was another explosion that was reported. It's a deepening mystery surrounding a cargo ship that was supposed to sail smoothly into Nhava Sheva port. Tonight, Republic brings you this latest from the firefighting front. A Singapore-flagged container ship MV Van Hai 503 has been burning for over 48 hours. The Indian Coast Guard and the Indian Navy remain on high alert, battling the fire and searching for 4 missing crew members. But this isn't just a maritime emergency, it's quickly turning into an international puzzle, and not just that, it could also turn out to be one of the biggest national security threat.
Off the coast of Bepur in Kerala, a massive firefighting operation is underway for over 48 hours. A Singapore-flagged container ship en route a port in Maharashtra from Colombo has been up in flames. The fire reportedly broke out at 9:20 a.m. on Monday. By afternoon, flames spread to adjoining containers, forcing the crew to abandon the vessel using lifeboats. Responding swiftly, the Indian Coast Guard deployed 4 ships and INS Surat for rescue and firefighting operations. And by nightfall, 2 Dornier aircrafts were airborne to assist. 10:16 a.m. on Tuesday, the Coast Guard confirmed that explosions and fires were still active. While the forward section of the ship was brought under control, the midsection and container bay remained ablaze. As of Wednesday, only 40% of the fire was doused. While firefighting operations continue, the Indian Coast Guard confirmed to Republic that the blaze had not been contained.
These are chemical fires and they take time to extinguish. Generally, till the time the fuel is available and the chemical reaction is ongoing, these fires generally have a tendency to go on and on. And they do react with the surroundings to, at times go up in intensity, and there will be times when we feel that they're doused and they can be reignited. So it takes time to deal with chemical fires. We got this report yesterday morning at around 9:15, and then we came to know that the ship is having multiple explosions, and a nearby ship reported that they can sight a ship near to them which is on fire.
And that 4 crew members were missing.
Immediately, we had our Dornier aircraft in the area. We sent her, and she could see that the vessel was spewing fire. There was a lot of explosions going on, and the communication with the master on board with the Coast Guard Dornier indicated that the master and the crew wants to abandon the ship. They were total 22 crew, of which 18 abandoned, were recovered. 4 of the crew, we presume that they were doing firefighting, and the master says during the course of firefighting, they have been missing after an explosion.
But the main questions remain on the ship carrying 157 containers of hazardous materials that are prone to spontaneous combustion. The shipping company based in Taiwan has so far evaded Republic's repeated inquiries. And now, there are bigger questions. What triggered the fire? Why was the ship carrying hazardous material? And where are the missing containers?
Well, Republic's investigation into the MV Van High 503 fire has uncovered a startling discrepancy. While the ship essentially declared 157 containers across 6 port calls, including Kaohsiung, Hong Kong, Singapore, Port Klang and Colombo, as per the first report by the Indian Coast Guard, 14 containers are now missing with no explanation or documentation. Now, this breakdown shows 118 containers loaded in Kaohsiung, 9 in Hong Kong, 14 in Singapore, 2 in Port Klang, and none in Shekau, which happens to be in China, or even for that matter, Colombo. So if you add that up, it only brings it to about 143, which certainly does not add up. Now, this raises further questions. What is Van High Lines essentially hiding? Were they missing containers offloaded secretly, or are they part of their ongoing blasts on board? As the fire rages on, the missing container mystery could point to deeper lapses or concealed cargo. Ladies and gentlemen, let me try and break this up for you. This ship, which basically started its journey all the way from Singapore and thereafter made multiple port calls. Republic TV's investigation team did check with each of these port areas whether at all this ship, when they were making the port call, did they make any declaration or not. It turns out that it was selective in nature. We do not know as to why in Shekau in China there was no declaration that was essentially made, because each of the other places goes on to indicate that there was a declaration made, starting with 118 in the first place, and thereafter, as it was proceeding towards Navasheva after Colombo, it turns out that they had already declared 143 containers with dangerous goods. Now, as per the Indian Coast Guard, they have information of 157. So what really happens to these 40? There's an official confirmation coming in from the Coast Guard that 15 to 20 containers are missing, and that could be because after the fire broke out, the explosions took place, some of the containers may have got displaced. But having said that, this has got even more deeper as to why there wasn't any clarity coming in from this particular shipping company about the total 143 containers and what is this 157 containers that the Indian Coast Guard was basically mentioning about, and whether at all this company has actually followed all the protocols in place. We have gone through the documents in each of these port areas, and this is where it adds up to. It's only about 143. The report that has been published by the Coast Guard mentions about 157. My colleague Aditya has dug deeper. It's a deep dive that we have essentially done to find out how many calls were made, how many port calls were made from the time the journey started, and thereafter what really happened. We're going to take you through some of the details here and how it all started, finally coming till where and what was the final destination. Here, ladies and gentlemen, the Navasheva airport, the port was the final destination, but it starts with Kaohsiung in Taiwan with 118 containers. So that's what they made a mention. Then it basically traverses, the ship basically traverses and finally comes to Singapore. When in Singapore, 14 containers, they declared that they have 14 containers with dangerous goods. Then when they reach Port Klang, they make another call that 2 additional containers that they have, and these are dangerous goods. It continues to go on, and it turns out that by the time it reached in Colombo, they made a declaration. No declaration was basically made of any containers with dangerous goods. So it stands only till there. And as it was moving towards Navasheva, that's where off the Baipur coast is when this fire was reported. So we are basically saying as each of these port calls were made, it turns out that they had only declared 143. So when they were off the Baipur coast, 157 is the information that the Indian Coast Guard had, even so much so that we have checked with the documents with the Kerala Maritime Board. Kerala Maritime Board says that only the logistics that they have or the manifest that they have is only of 143. The question is, what about the missing containers. Was there a deliberate attempt made by the company not to declare? We do not know. We reached out to the company on the first day itself. There too, remember, there is a clear discrepancy with regards to the number of containers that they had on board and the number of containers that fell off. So there is no clarity really coming in, despite the multiple questions that were put out. My colleague Aditya has also taken you through some of the details that are now coming in. Take a look.
The public investigation into MV Van High Line 503 has uncovered a startling discrepancy. Now, while the ship declared 157 of the containers across 5 port calls made from the first, Koh Sai Hang, second, from the Hong Kong, third, Singapore, fourth, Port Klang, and the last came from the Colombo. Now, as per the first report filed by the Indian Coast Guard, 14 of the containers are now missing without justification, clarification, or even documentation. Now, the breakdown shows 118 of the containers were loaded from Koh Sai Hang, 9 from the Hong Kong, 14 Singapore, 2 Port Klang, and none in Shikau or Colombo, which brings the number to total down to 143, which does not add up. Now, this raises some serious questions. The first, what is Van High Lines hiding? And second, were the missing containers were offloaded secretly, or are they the part of the explosions happening on board? Now, as the fire rages on, this missing container mystery could point to deeper lapses of concealed cargoes.
Well, in fact, we've reached out to the shipping company for a concrete answer on this entire deepening mystery right now. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end, I'm going to just quickly take you through of all that we know so far. We're digging deep because we believe that there is something more than what meets the eye right now. As we speak right now, only 40% of the blaze has been suppressed as of Wednesday. A short while back, we did check with the Indian Coast Guard. They said that the fire is still raging on and they're trying to douse it. They've been successful, but not completely. Firefighting continues in the forward bay areas that has been completed right now, enabling them to use the tugboat and push the boat further. Boundary cooling operations have essentially been initiated. That is, when I say the boundary cooling operations, that's basically around the ship that they're trying to carry on with the cooling operation. Preparations are underway to tackle the AFT section if the fire spreads. That's the further section that you're seeing. They're trying to contain the fire to a particular area. But since the explosions still continue, that is the reason why it's becoming even more difficult for them. 5 vessels and tugs have also been engaged and en route to the ship. These tugboats are essentially being used so that they can take the vessel away from the shore. This is to avoid any maritime disaster. Tug Saroja Blessing, equipped with 80 kilograms of firefighting foam, is also being employed right now as we speak. Salvors from Spain, UK and Netherlands have already been identified. The salvors are essentially bringing in with the technique that is basically required to ensure that it does not result in any sort of oil spill, because what they have on board is far more dangerous. Chemists as well as salvage engineers have also been mobilized right now, and they are basically carrying out with these operations. All of that put together, ladies and gentlemen, there are several unanswered questions. Tonight, our spotlight was only on the fact that there are missing containers. We do not know what's in those containers and whether at all there was a deliberate attempt that was made by the shipping company to hide anything or not. We are still awaiting for a response coming in from the shipping company, questions that have been posed so far. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. My colleague Tanisha will be with you in the trending.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
विमल में गुलिस्तां की ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए, और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की इस जुबान में खुद को ऐसा डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं ना? विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
भैया मेरा बच्चा कभी ऐसा काम नहीं कर सकता, मेरा बच्चा कभी ऐसा काम नहीं कर सकता भैया, कभी ऐसा काम नहीं सकता। 20 साल की उसकी उम्र है भैया। जब से हम सुना 3 दिन से हम पानी नहीं पिए, जब से मेरा बच्चा गया परसों के दिन से। बेकसूर है वो लोग, कभी ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, कभी भी नहीं। वो दोनों ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, विक्की और राज, वही दोनों मेरे भैया, वो दोनों ऐसे कभी नहीं कर सकते अंकल। भैया मेरा बच्चा कभी ऐसा काम नहीं कर सकता, मेरा बच्चा कभी ऐसा काम नहीं कर सकता भैया, कभी ऐसा काम नहीं सकता। 20 साल की उसकी उम्र है भैया। जब से हम सुना 3 दिन से हम पानी नहीं पिए, जब से मेरा बच्चा गया परसों के दिन से। न मेरी बच्चियां, न मेरी बच्ची छोटी वाली गिर के बेहोश हो जाती है। हमारा वही जिम्मेदार है, वही हमारा सब कुछ था। हमारे पति शांत हो गए भैया, इकलौता बेटा था, और मेरे कोई आगे पीछे नहीं भैया।
तो आप उनकी माँ सोनम से कोई बातचीत करते थे?
आप भैया कोई ना काम करता तो सोनम के भाई के यहाँ काम करता, तो वो भी वही फैक्ट्री में वो भी काम करती थी। अब काम करने में आप भी तो बात करोगे, कोई बात करेगा तो तुम भी बात करोगे। तो झूठा फंसा दिया भैया मेरे बच्चे को। 20 साल के बच्चे से कहाँ कार करता है, वो ऐसा बच्चा है भैया जैसे सब्जी कोई बेचता ना, और उसके पैर में जूता चप्पल न हो, देख लेता तो अपने चप्पल जूता उतार के दे देता था। नंगे पैर आता तो मैं खूब चिल्लाती थी, मैं बोलती थी मैं खाना नहीं दूंगी, तेरे को चप्पल ला के नहीं दूंगी, मेरे पास नहीं, कहाँ से लाऊं? फिर भी दे के आ जाता था।
बेकसूर है वो लोग, कभी ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, कभी भी नहीं। वो दोनों ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, विक्की और राज, वही दोनों मेरे भैया, वो दोनों ऐसे कभी नहीं कर सकते अंकल। हाँ भैया यही थे भैया, वहाँ पे नहीं, कहीं भी बाहर नहीं गया। ऑफिस वालों से पूछो ना, वो रोज ऑफिस जाते थे, गोडाउन जाते थे, वो ऐसा नहीं कर सकते।
क्या मांग करेंगे?
उनके साथ पूरी फैमिली है, लेकिन हमारे साथ कोई नहीं है। हमारे भाई का अलावा फंसाया जा रहा है, मेरे भाई ने ऐसा कुछ नहीं किया। गाजीपुर एक ही नहीं है, बहुत सारे गाजीपुर है। पता नहीं दीदी कौन से गाजीपुर से मिली है, हम लोगों को तो नहीं पता ना।
आप कौन से वाले गाजीपुर से?
हम लोग फतेहपुर के पास जो गाजीपुर है, हम वहाँ के रहने वाले हैं।
अरेंज मैरिज है, दोनों की सम्मति बसी हुई थी। लड़की की भाभी ने एक बार फोन लगा के पूछा था कि जीजू तुमको हमारी वो पसंद है कि नहीं? बोले बिट्टू अगर नहीं हो तो बता दो। बोले नहीं हमको पसंद है, ऐसी बात आप क्यों कर रहे हैं? मगर ये बात हमने उससे, सोनम से पूछा था कि आपको हमारा लड़का पसंद है क्या, तो उसने भी बोला था कि पसंद है।
सोनम की तलाश जल्द होना चाहिए, क्योंकि सोनम का सुराग लगेगा तभी ये पता चलेगा कि राजा रघुवंशी के साथ क्या हुआ, आपके बेटे के साथ क्या हुआ।
अभी भी सोनम के मुंह से उगलाओ कि राजा के साथ क्या हुआ था, क्योंकि लास्ट टाइम वही थी। और जब मैंने सोनम से बात करी थी, इसके बाद मैं राजा से बात करी थी 15 मिनट बाद, तो सोनम ने मेरे से हेलो नहीं बोला था कि मम्मी लो इनसे बात कर लो, डायरेक्ट उसको फोन दिया गया था। तो सोनम ही बता पाएगी कि क्या हुआ राजा के साथ। मैं सोनम के मुंह से ही सुनना चाहती हूँ। फांसी से भी बढ़ के होना चाहिए, मैं तो कह रही फांसी से भी बढ़ के होना चाहिए। कभी उसका हाथ थे तो नहीं है तो नहीं दे सकते।
एक एंगल ये भी आ रहा है कि एक कोई बॉयफ्रेंड है, ये सूत्रों के हवाले से अभी सोनम का कोई बॉयफ्रेंड है जिसे इंदौर क्राइम ब्रांच ने पकड़ा है।
नहीं, ये हमको नॉलेज नहीं, ये उनकी माँ से पूछो जाके, उनकी माँ को मालूम होगा ना। बच्चा अपने सामने बड़ा होता है, अपन को मालूम रहता ना।
From your smartphones to your smart TV, trending topics are breaking the internet by storm. In what seems to be like a blatant duplicity, the United States has praised Pakistan for support against the ISIS. And while US is praising Pakistan, their own country, America, is burning with massive protests being held in Los Angeles. From friends to foes to back to being friends again, well, that's how it looks like when Elon Musk saying that he went way too far on his Trump latest flip. The wife who turned killer, Sonam Raghuvanshi, has finally confessed to her crime, and also on the show is the 10-year-old racing sensation from Kashmir. We have this and a lot more for you on this edition of Trending Today with me, Tanisha Awasthi. In what looks like a blatant double standard, the United States has praised Pakistan for support against ISIS. United States Central Command Chief General Michael says, and I quote, "Pakistan has been a phenomenal counter-terrorism partner for America. This comes even as Donald Trump for the longest time has claimed to be the flag bearer of an anti-terrorism stance." Watch this.
Trying to do external plots globally to include against the homeland. Right now, what we saw is the Taliban, in going after ISIS-K, they hate each other, pushed a lot of them into the tribal areas on the Afghan-Pakistan border. Through a phenomenal partnership with Pakistan, they have gone after ISIS Khorasan, killing dozens of them. Through a relationship we have with them, providing intelligence, they have captured at least 5 ISIS Khorasan high-value individuals. They extradited back Jafar, who was one of the key individuals behind the Abbey Gate bombing. And the first person he called, Chief of the Army Staff Munir, was me, and said, "I've caught him. I'm willing to extradite him back to the United States. Please tell the Secretary of Defense and the President." So we are seeing Pakistan, with limited intelligence that we're providing them, go after them using their means to do that. And we're seeing an effect on ISIS Khorasan. At the same point, they are continuing to move around. Sometimes they'll try and go back into Afghanistan. We have the means to be able to collect, but for the most part right now, they're hanging out right in that border area of Pakistan. And I would also tell you that, since 2024, the beginning, Pakistan had over 1,000 terrorist attacks in the western area, killing about 700 security and civilians and 2,500 wounded. They're in an active counterterrorism fight right now, and they have been a phenomenal partner in the counterterrorism world.
It seems like I addressed a summit of more than 50 Arab and Muslim leaders, a unique meeting in the history of nations, where key players in the region agreed to stop supporting terrorism, whether it be financial, military, or even moral support. The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism.
It was not even a month ago when Donald Trump was seen rubbing shoulders with the former Al-Qaeda and ISIS terrorist, now Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara. Trump even went on to say that Ahmad is a young, attractive and tough guy with very strong past.
How did you find the Syrian president?
Great. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. Strong pass. Very strong pass fighter.
Does that worry you at all?
He's got a real shot at pulling it together.
And if this wasn't enough, Pakistan's Field Marshal Asim Munir has now been invited to Washington, D.C. for the United States Army Day celebrations on June 14th. The anger is palpable. Reactions are on your screens. Netizens have said, and I quote, "United States without double standards is just impossible." Another ex-user has slammed the Trump government, saying that the United States still didn't learn from 9/11. Meanwhile, another user has called out the sheer duplicity of their stance. The streets of LA are witnessing a massive and unprecedented unrest. Clashes between demonstrators and law enforcement. Cars were set ablaze. Rubber bullets were fired. There is absolute mayhem. President Donald Trump has deployed federal forces to restore law and order.
Only go right by having the military, it de-escalates. I mean, that was the only way. These people are agitators, they're troublemakers. These are insurrectionists, they're agitators or troublemakers. At a minimum, they're troublemakers.
Mayor Karen Bass has also declared a local emergency and imposed a curfew in downtown LA as unrest continues to grip the city.
That I have declared a local emergency and issued a curfew for downtown Los Angeles to stop the vandalism, to stop the looting. Many businesses have now been affected by or vandalized. Last night there were 23 businesses that were looted, and I think that if you drive through downtown LA, the graffiti is everywhere and has caused significant damages to businesses and a number of properties.
Despite the curfew and arrest, multiple groups were spotted on the streets. It is an all-out anarchy on the streets of Los Angeles. In a now viral video, masked looters were seen ransacking Apple Store amid the protests that ensued on the streets of LA. Meet Atika Mir, the 10-year-old Indian racing prodigy who's taking the motorsport world by a storm. Atika has just become the first Indian and the only Asian this year to clinch a top 10 finish in the fiercely competitive Rotax Euro Trophy. It is one of the world's premier karting championships. Her achievement is even more remarkable considering the challenges she faced. Unpredictable rain, tough penalties, and the pressure of competing against the best young drivers from across the globe. Here with me, just a few moments back, I spoke to the fast and fierce Atika Mir and her father Asif Mir. Take a listen in. Joining me is the racing sensation at just 10 years of age, Atika Mir. Atika, we see you are there. You are with your father Asif Mir as well. Atika, my first question to you, how does it feel becoming a racing sensation at just 10 years of age?
It feels really good, especially when I'm also like really young and I'm achieving a lot of things in my racing journey. It's a big thing, and I think I've done many achievements in my life, and I'm hoping to do a lot more.
Well, absolutely. You are a sensation right now. Asif Mir is Atika's father. He's also joining us on the broadcast today. Asif, how does it feel seeing your daughter reach a milestone at such a young age? How does it feel like a father? I'm sure you must be very proud of her today.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a very proud moment for any parent to, see your child doing well. And at the same time, she just started off and, she has a long way to go. So we're keeping our feet on the ground and, trying to take this long journey to Formula One.
Absolutely. Atika, I see you're on the seat, on the hot seat, and you have a driving handle with you as well. Would you mind explaining it to our viewers? What's the area like where you are, and what is it that you're sitting on there?
The thing I'm sitting on is actually like a simulator. You can't see all of it, but it's really big. So it's just like a car, but at home. So and you get to practice tracks on it, and you get to that's the main thing you gotta do on the simulator.
Absolutely. Atika, when did you wanted to start racing? All of it at this young age is commendable. And when was that first thought that crept into your mind that I want to do this?
It came to me when I was like 5 years old. So then I wanted to, I got inspired by my father. So he was like a Formula 8 racer when in the early 2000s. So then I also got inspired and I also wanted to do something like him. So then I did, and I am doing it now.
That's absolutely amazing. Asif, you have given your daughter a huge push that many would want their daughters to give today. Were there any hurdles that you had encountered in this journey so far?
I think a lot of hurdles. First of all, right within the family and friends would keep coming and saying, what are you doing? She's a girl, typical taboo questions.
Right.
And it's even a taboo in India. It's actually a taboo all over the world.
Right.
Girls have never found the space in racing. And, that inspired me to do even more. And especially when I saw that she has very good natural talent. So we took it upon us as a challenge, and we still are in the middle of it. But challenges from the society, one. Second, challenges from the karting fraternity itself, the racing fraternity.
Yes.
So we just have to face them. There's a lot of on-track stuff, bullying, targeting, being a female, etc. But we have to deal with it.
Yeah, and I'm sure all of you, both of you have overcome those challenges, those hurdles, and this is where Atika is standing today. We are very proud of you, Atika, and all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Hot off the plate and set straight to your screens, viewers. Our next segment is Hot Trends. RJD chief Lalu Prasad Yadav recently celebrated his 78th birthday in style at his Patna residence. The veteran leader marked the occasion by cutting a massive 78 kg laddu cake with a sword, surrounded by his family and supporters. The Indian government is all set to implement a new rule that will standardize the temperature settings for air conditioners across the country. Union Minister Manohar Lal Khattar announced that ACs will be restricted to operate between 20 degrees Celsius and 28 degrees Celsius, aiming to curb excessive electricity consumption and elevate pressure on the power grid. Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar has firmly denied rumours of buying the Royal Challengers of Bengaluru team, calling himself not a madman for considering such a move. He even quipped, and I quote, "I don't even drink Royal Challenge." K-pop fans rejoice. Jimin and Jungkook, two members of the iconic group BTS, have officially completed the mandatory military service in South Korea. Well, it seems like patch-up is on the cards. Elon Musk has expressed regret over his recent criticism of Donald Trump, hinting at a possible reconciliation between the two after a very dramatic and a very public brawl. Musk's apology comes a day after of heated online exchanges with some social media users, labeling the development a big, beautiful patch-up. The internet is still in splits. There is the meme fest that has erupted. Watch these hilarious reactions from the Twitterati. And that's all that we could pack in this edition of Trending Today. We will be back tomorrow sharp at 7:30 p.m. with more trending stories. Till then, stay tuned. Coming up after the break is Debate with Arnab.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
मेरी नई हुंडई एक्स्ट्रा तुमने भी तो कल नई कार ली है ना, उसमें भी तो होगा ना ये वॉइस इनेबल सनरूफ
है ना अंकल, सिंगर इनेबल सनरूफ।
और बेनिफिट्स ये तो मिले होंगे ना?
ये मिला।
हाँ? हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते।
तो फैंस है, शोर तो करेंगे ही ना।
नए वाले नहीं करते। And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me, I thought.
Cricket fans.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुलें तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबां में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबां कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल बोलो जुबां कैसी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
MDH
भैया मेरा बच्चा कभी ऐसा काम नहीं कर सकता, मेरा बच्चा कभी ऐसा काम नहीं कर सकता भैया, कभी ऐसा काम नहीं सकता। 20 साल की उसको मेरे भैया, जब से हम सुना 3 दिन से हम पानी नहीं पिए, जब से मेरा बच्चा गया परसों के दिन से ना। बेकसूर है वो लोग, कभी ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, कभी भी नहीं, वो दोनों ऐसा नहीं कर सकते। विक्की और राज वही दोनों मेरे भैया, वो दोनों ऐसा कभी नहीं कर सकते अंकल। भैया मेरा बच्चा कभी ऐसा काम नहीं कर सकता, मेरा बच्चा कभी ऐसा काम नहीं कर सकता भैया, कभी ऐसा काम नहीं सकता। 20 साल की उसको मेरे भैया, जब से हम सुना 3 दिन से हम पानी नहीं पिए, जब से मेरा बच्चा गया परसों के दिन से। ना मेरी बच्चियां, ना मेरी बच्ची छोटी वाली गिर के बेहोश हो जाती है। हमारा भाई जिम्मेदार है, वही हमारा सब कुछ था, हमारे पति शांत हो गए भैया, इकलौता बेटा था, और मेरे कोई आगे पीछे नहीं भैया।
आप उनकी माँ आप बता दो कि सोनम से कोई बातचीत करते थे कभी? वो
आप भैया कोई ना काम करता तो सोनम के भाई के यहाँ काम करता तो वो भी वही फैक्ट्री में वो भी काम करती थी। अब काम कर रहे में आप भी तो बात करोगे, कोई बात करेगा तो तुम भी बात करोगे। झूठा फंसा दिया भैया मेरे बच्चे को। 20 साल के बच्चे से कहाँ कार करता है वो ऐसा बच्चा है भैया जैसे सब्जी कोई बेचता ना और उसके पैर में जूता चप्पल न हो देख लेता तो अपने चप्पल जूता उतार के दे देता था। नंगे पैर आता तो मैं खूब चिल्लाती थी, मैं बोलती थी मैं खाना नहीं दूंगी तेरे को, चप्पल ला के नहीं दूंगी, मेरे पास नहीं कहाँ से लाऊं, फिर भी दे के आ जाता था।
बेकसूर है वो लोग, कभी ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, कभी भी नहीं। वो दोनों ऐसा नहीं कर सकते, विक्की और राज वही दोनों मेरे भैया, वो दोनों ऐसे कभी नहीं कर सकते अंकल।
जब घटना हुई?
हाँ भैया यहीं थे भैया, वहाँ पे नहीं कहीं भी बाहर नहीं गया। ऑफिस वालों से पूछो ना, वो रोज ऑफिस जाते थे, गोडाउन जाते थे, वो ऐसा नहीं कर सकते।
क्या मांग करेंगे?
उनके साथ पूरी फैमिली है लेकिन हमारे साथ कोई नहीं है। हमारे भाई का अलावा फंसाया जा रहा है, मेरे भाई ने ऐसा कुछ नहीं किया। गाजीपुर है कि नहीं है, बहुत सारे गाजीपुर है, पता नहीं दीदी कौन से गाजीपुर से मिली है, हम लोगों को तो नहीं पता ना।
आप कौन से वाले गाजीपुर से?
हम लोग फतेहपुर के पास जो गाजीपुर है हम वहाँ के रहने वाले हैं।
अरेंज मैरिज है, दोनों की सम्मत बसी हुई थी। लड़की की भाभी ने एक बार फोन लगा के पूछा था कि जीजू तुमको हमारी वो पसंद है कि नहीं। बोले बिट्टू अगर नहीं हो तो बता दो। बोले नहीं हमको पसंद है, ऐसी बात आप क्यों कर रहे हैं। मगर ये बात हमने उससे सोनम से पूछा था कि आपको हमारा लड़का पसंद है क्या, तो उसने भी बोला था कि पसंद है।
सोनम की तलाश जल्द होना चाहिए क्योंकि सोनम का सुराग लगेगा तभी ये पता चलेगा कि राजा रघुवंशी के साथ क्या हुआ, आपके बेटे के साथ क्या हुआ।
अभी भी सोनम के मुंह से उगलाओ कि राजा के साथ क्या हुआ था, क्योंकि लास्ट टाइम वही थी। और जब मैंने सोनम से बात करी थी, इसके बाद मैं राजा से बात करी थी 15 मिनट बाद, तो सोनम ने मेरे से हेलो नहीं बोला था कि मम्मी लो इनसे बात कर लो, डायरेक्ट उसको फोन दिया गया था। तो सोनम ही बता पाएगी कि क्या हुआ राजा के साथ। मैं सोनम के मुंह से ही सुनना चाहती हूँ, फांसी से भी बढ़ के।
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
मेरी नई हुंडई एक्स्टर तुमने भी तो कल नई कार ली है ना, उसमें भी तो होगा ना ये वॉइस इनेबल सनरूफ
है ना अंकल, सिंगर इनेबल सनरूफ।
और बेनिफिट्स ये तो मिले होंगे ना।
ये मिला।
हाँ, हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
विमल में गुलिस्तां के ये कुछ लजीज फरिश्ते जब साथ घुले तो जी ललचाए और दिल कहे कि स्वाद की जुबान में खुद को ऐसे डुबाऊं कि निकल ना पाऊं। विमल की जुबान कुछ है ही ऐसी, मानते हैं? विमल बोलो जुबान कैसी।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
Okay, man. I'm all right, mate. Thank you. Oh, shut up. Okay, man. I'm all right, mate. Thank you.